What up, Marsh Pod? We had a great tournament, man. We're getting ready for Canada flight, but we had a great top of the mountain, top of the morning day tournament. Ghosts can't keep things rolling. They fall to Team Bay Area. I thought that was very unsurprising. I thought Team Bay Area was the better team, certainly in that matchup, but I think it proved throughout that it was they were the better team in this tournament. I think that's concerning if you're out there trying to compete with this team. Dre Pope has put together one heck of a roster. He's inherited a good one, but he's added some really nice pieces, and Trey Hyman really stood out to that. Before we get to that, quick lesson I think we learned, and I think Team Yacht Club and Team Showtime Basketball allowed us to learn that lesson, but they took the brunt of it. Hey, maybe talking on social media before a game isn't the best call. I don't know. Call me crazy. Call me crazy that Chad Smith goes a little vocal in his "we're going to beat you, we're going to beat you." And look, I get it. These games don't matter. But then don't talk about it like it does, okay? Because you can't do this. Same thing with Yacht Club. Team social gets a little aggressive. I got no issue with people being a little aggressive, okay? That's better. It's better if we've got a little bit of personality. But you can't play both sides of the coin and say, well, these games don't matter. But if you had won, you would have been talking all this smack. Like, look, they didn't want that smoke. We got them. You can't do that. You can't be on both sides. If you're going to lose, lose. But don't try to hide behind, well, these games don't matter. If they don't matter, then why the heck did you care so much beforehand? I think you did. But anyhow, two guys stood out to me at top of the mountain, Trey Hyman and De'Aaron Cruz, for two vastly different reasons. Trey Hyman was awesome. Okay, Trey Hyman was awesome. Trey Hyman showed, let's start on the offensive end, showed a really great playmaking touch. And look, you're going to talk about his first dunk of the game. We're going to talk about, or you could talk about his just domination against Sparks. That's fine. Go ahead. But where Trey Hyman stood out was his passing. And I think by an extension, Xavier Pope stood out as well, because Xavier Pope did a phenomenal job of just being a rim running forward, a rim running wing, where typically that kind of role is reserved for big men. But when you've got Trey Hyman with the type of vision that he exposed himself to, that guy, it was impressive. Okay, for a kid at 16 years of age, 17 years of age, to be able to make some of the passes, see the vision, have the unselfishness to make those passes, that's tough to do. I don't think it's Nikola Jokic level passing, but I think it's Andrew Bogut level passing, where you're surrounded by players that operate so well in that ecosystem. Caden Shipp played it. He's looked phenomenal because he's now in an environment where the ball doesn't get stuck in other hands and then it ends up in his hands to close the possession. Team Bay Area, and I think a big part of the credit goes to Trey Hyman, is a team on the court that just looks so in sync. They look fluid, and they're doing without formal coaching, without set play calls. Dre Pope has to feel pretty good. Dre Pope has to feel pretty good about what this team looks like, because they looked really freaking good last night. On the other side of the sharing the ball, De'Aaron Cruz has never seen a pass that he did like. He was a black hole to the basketball, and I think, yeah, Team Ghost got to the championship game, but that's the limit. Okay, this is the limit for that team, or really, I should say, any team that De'Aaron Cruz plays for. Is he quick? Sure. Might be the fastest guy in the league, though Dominic Bianco balled out and might prove otherwise. Did he show some ability to shoot the three ball? Sure, he did. Did he show an ability to be anything except a scorer? No, he did not. That's going to be detrimental, because I mentioned this on the broadcast with Byron, and I think this stands true. Of course it does, because it's not even 24 hours later, as we're recording this midday, December 21. De'Aaron Cruz is going to be a player that a team signs because they say, look at the scoring potential that he has. Look at how creative he is on offense. But what you're going to do potentially by signing him is alienate some of the established pieces that you have on your roster. Because Gil Blumenstein was not involved at any point in this game. And look, I've always said, if you don't show up, I find that concerning. I'm going to give everybody else on Ghosts a pass for not showing up because De'Aaron Cruz didn't allow them to. He didn't foster any offensive creation. He didn't play the job of a point guard and get people into positions that they could score. He looked like Colin Sexton out there, which is fine. But Colin Sexton is already onto his second team. Trade rumors by his third year in the NBA, if not earlier once Darius Garland showed up. Sure, you could be Colin Sexton. That's great. You score 18 points a game. But there's a limit to how far that takes you in the terms of basketball positionality. De'Aaron Cruz didn't show an ability to be anything more than a pure scorer. And there's going to be a lot of those guys. There's a lot of guys that can score at the point guard position. And if you're just another one, it's very difficult to stand out amongst that. So you either go one of two ways. You start building out other parts of your game, or you start going so far into being a score-first, score-only guard that you either become really good at it, or you make everyone so frustrated and hate playing with you that they no longer want to do so. That's the kind of fork that De'Aaron Cruz, very early in his career, is already facing. There's too much me, there's not a lot of we, and that is why they lost to a team that played functionally, cohesively, and dynamically. I mean, I think the simple conclusion is there's just something in the water out in the bay. All right, talk to you next week. Happy holidays.